Unfortunately, tonight, most of my co hosts aren't going to be able to make it. It's just going to be me and Marcelo.
Hey, guys.
Crazy is having computer difficulties, i.e., internet connection difficulties, I should say. And I've had a long day that was filled with a lot, and I do mean a lot of moving around and doing stuff. Had to get all the way into Charlotte to see my doctor, and oh God, am I exhausted. So we're going to do a quick deep dive, mainly because the deep dive I've already done into the Minneapolis daycare fraud scandal thing is, oh my God, there's a lot more to it than we originally believed.
Mm-hmm.
This is more than just daycare stuff. I mean,
Yep.
this fraud has been going on since 2012, and
Probably longer.
yeah, probably longer. But the what research I've done so far over the past week, it's talking about the let's see, what was the name? Something hunger for the feeding the future or something was the name of it.
Yeah.
Uh, and and that was not even the start of this fraud. Hi, Alice Lovely. Uh,
Hey,
so,
hey.
like I said, this scandal is a lot bigger than we originally thought, and which is, I think, one of the reasons why. Because the conservative estimate about the fraud was $110 million, but there's also the 300 to $400 million just on the daycare stuff. And there's something like $9 billion in fraud in Minnesota alone that's associated with the Salome community because of the amount of money, which I'm still trying to track down how much of it went back to the Salome, boosted the of. This is hard for me to find. I've got my kitchens trying to help me out with this. They were able to a really decent.
You there, Richard? You're kind of breaking up, buddy.
And
I think Duckyard's got you, buddy.
there,
No, you're cutting in and out. You're cutting in and out. Please be patient,
all right, hold
folks.
on.
We're having some technical difficulties here.
All right. Can you guys hear me better now?
I can hear you better now.
All right, I'm going to have to get a new headset on the 21st.
There you
All
go.
right. All right. I don't know how much got garbled, so I'll just start from the beginning.
Yeah, go for it.
This scandal is a lot bigger than we initially thought. It's been going on since at least 2012. It has a great deal of moving parts. The conservative estimate on just the daycare fraud alone is $110 million. That's a conservative estimate, though the numbers are looking more to be the $300 to $500 million range on just the daycare scandal. Okay, there's more to it than that. There's there's also we were talking about just before we went live about assisted living care
Mm-hmm.
uh, being set up in private homes that were supposed to be taking care of large groups of elderly people.
Mm-hmm.
There was daycare, what was supposed to be a daycare center, set up in a family's home that was supposed to be that was getting money for taking care of 12 children, but was actually only taking care of two,
Mm-hmm.
which seems to be the children of the people who own the house and
Mm-hmm.
supposed to have ran the daycare center. Um, there's the case that they keep talking about, the daycare center that got broken into, and the via a dollar store which had money and other products that was easier to steal,
Mm-hmm.
and the hole in the wall does not. Brad Williams would have had a hard time getting through that hole in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all don't know who that is, go look him up. He's one of the funniest comedians out there. Who's a little person, a midget. Okay, he would have had a hard time getting through that wall, the hole in that wall. And the only thing that was stolen was the records that would prove or disprove there was there was fraud going on. This case is, oh my God, it's not just in Minnesota. There's cases similar to this in Washington State and Oregon that is being reported on, of the same type of a setup where people's homes are being listed as daycare centers or assisted living care centers. Marcelo was telling me that a similar scam to this happened down in Florida where he's at, which
Yeah.
cost how much money did you say?
Yeah, there was a Medicare network type of scam. The guy name was Miguel Reccari, and he bilked probably somewhere between 250 million to around 500 million dollars. This is what was reported in the news back in the day. The guy absconded, left the country. They found him eventually in Spain. And they tried bringing him into justice and stuff. But ever since that time, which was a couple of decades now, they are at least in the state of Florida, very, very sensitive to this whole idea of Medicare fraud or people applying to provide care in small ALFs and things like that. They are obviously, there's some that have been around for decades now, converted homes that had maybe 4 or 5 residents living in them in a private home, and those probably were grandfathered in. But nowadays, if you were to try to start up one like that, I suspect you would run into some serious hurdles from the system down here because of some of that fraud that went on back in the day. Okay. And that's what I could speak of. But what's going on there in those videos, it doesn't surprise me. And you've got some politicians that are going out there and they're talking about, oh well, because these raids are now impeding our act to police and to investigate these things, and now we're impacting any assistance coming into the state. And I'm like, where's your evidence?
Yeah, there is.
Show the places that you as a state shut down that did not require federal intervention for you to shut them down. Where is this stuff? Provide your evidence of self-policing where the federal government was not involved to bring you to the table to police this situation. Okay, I address this to every state in the nation. If you are not self-policing, there's no reason why the federal government cannot decide to come in and investigate of their own accord. After all, they are taking money that came from the whole, and by the whole I mean WHOLE, okay, money which we are all on the hook for, and distribute it to you. But if you don't have the self-governance to put a quelch on this, what did you think was going to happen? You know, and frankly, you know, it's like, look, if you've known about this for a long time, evidence of you having done something about it should have made its way into the media before the current administration went on board.
Well, one of the things in this was that the Biden administration started an investigation, just like the Obama administration had started an investigation into this stuff. So everybody who wants to blame Trump for this needs to wake the hell up.
Well, here's the thing. Started an investigation and having something substantive are two different things, Richard.
Okay? No, that's just it.
Let's be clear on that. Okay? Let's be clear on that. Having started an investigation and having something substantive are two different things.
You know, from what I've been able to find so far, one of the reasons why Nick Shirley got involved in this was the fact that he had a whistleblower from the investigation started during the Biden years approach him with information and took him to one of the daycare centers, and that's what started the ball rolling of his investigations. Or at least that's what I've been told so far.
See, here's a question I have, Richard. I hate to interject, but frankly, I find it challenging to believe that if investigations were started as far back as the Obama administration, that this did not become a story in the mainstream media for 14 years.
Yeah, it didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
it cannot get to that.
Terrence Pop of Redonkulous was talking about this the other day on his channel, that the locals have known about this. They know this has been going on. They've known about the corruption and investigations that don't go nowhere. It's like running on, what's that thing? The treadmill where the little mouse is running on the little wheel.
Yep.
Okay. Because they were describing it like that. You know, they're sitting there running, doing their investigation while nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And because of the fact that the Democratic Farmers Labor Union, whatever the heck it is there in Minnesota, benefits from the fraud. The money that goes to the fraud turns around and gets donated back to them for their election campaigns.
Yep.
Okay, this is I admit this is a conspiracy theory looking at it about the reason why Harris chose Tim Walz for the job of vice president was the fact that he had access to money, and the fact that the Harris campaign was able to raise over $1 billion when they had better qualified candidates that could have ran as vice president that would have carried swing states that they desperately needed, but they didn't take it. Like Shapiro, the Pennsylvania's governor. And it makes me wonder if that had something to do with Walls being the one chosen, since Touchdown Timmy, for those who don't know where he got that nickname from, the students at the school gave him that nickname because he liked to what's a good way of putting
let the audience draw a conclusion for themselves, Richard.
Okay.
Best left it unsaid. You don't have these are adults that come to the fireside chat. They don't
Yes.
they don't need everything spelled out for them. Okay. So
like I said, it was Tim Walz was not a good
dude.
Considering the fact that he has basically said, I'm not running for re-election, and that there are people within his staff saying that he is looking at resigning as governor because of this. It wouldn't surprise me if he does resign, because
it's put it to you this way:
whether he does,
Richard, whether he does or whether he doesn't, okay, the man's done politically.
Yeah.
Okay, the man is done politically. They don't have to. They don't have to. They don't have to try to pursue him for any legal culpability for his political aspirations to be finito.
It's weird, man.
Arrivederci. And spinning on it isn't going to help us.
Yeah,
the man permitted a lot of fraud to continue to go on under his administration. We can infer for what reasons he did not put his foot down. Okay, we can draw many inferential reasons for why he didn't. Many of them have been said in the news, in the media. All right, but the fact is, you're done, Tim. Okay, and hopefully Minnesota can move on from you. We know some people are going to cry over the fact that you're no longer there. Some of those people are going to have to wake up to the reality that next time you guys go to vote in a governor over there, the rest of the country is going to be watching. Why? Because the rest of the country likes to talk about when states in the South do things. Guess what? It's about high time we start talking about y'all. Okay?
Mm-hmm. And like I said, tonight's live stream is probably not going to be that long because, well, there's just so much that's still coming out about this, and this deep dive. I'm sorry, guys. There's just so much to it that I don't feel comfortable enough doing a big deep dive. I want to just touch bases on some of the stuff before we have to go, because we're also having some connectivity issues on my end. Because y'all are breaking up really bad.
Yeah. Here's one thing, Richard, that I don't think anybody's really taken into account when they talked about this. When people talk about the impact of federal dollars and its impact to children in need, elderly in need, okay, think of that whenever any of these situations that you're seeing come up in the news about fraud, okay, take into account that all of these do have their impacts. Money being sent to these people who are defrauding the government is money not going to where it will help.
Yes.
Okay.
When I was homeless, I dealt with this stuff. I was homeless with a pregnant wife and a year-old son. And
that's what I'm
we
saying.
could not get help because of.
And that's what I'm saying. And that's exactly what I'm saying, man. The fact is that unfortunately we as a society are we are an empathetic society. We were we grew up having to learn the lessons to empathize with our fellow man. Okay. Unfortunately, we've made some mistakes, like every society has.
Yes,
Some
but the
some of
difference
those,
is when we see the mistakes, we try to fix the mistakes,
yeah.
and we try to
Unfortunately,
hold accountable whoever made whoever did this.
unfortunately, it hasn't been working, and that's why we've got to hold each other accountable. We have to hold each other accountable from the perspective of that we have to recognize that there are going to be people who aren't going to accept facts, and by facts, the reality of things. Okay. This money didn't need to go where it went.
Yep, and that's the part that gets me really upset because there are children out there that could have used that
Yep.
food money,
And
could have
and
used that
here
care,
and here's the thing.
with
You,
elderly people that were in
you,
desperate need.
and you can't let it overwhelm you, Richard. It's too easy to look at this situation and just wade into that pool. You
Yeah.
we need to look at that pool, recognize it for what it is, call it out so nobody else falls into it. Okay. Understand the lesson from it, but we don't need to jump into it. Okay.
Also, the fact that this isn't just an isolated to Minnesota thing.
Yeah.
This is going on in other states as well. And
Here's the call. Here's the call out. It, I, I, I can't believe that just us Southern guys are the ones that are seeing this stuff and saying to ourselves, "What in God's green earth is this going on?" The folks in the Midwest are supposed to be some really logical, caring people.
hey, son,
What is with y'all? What is
it's one
with
of those
y'all?
things that whenever I see things like this, and because I know so many everyday people, and they want to help those in need, and then when they see this happening, it hardens their hearts because they're like, why should I continue this? This is my tax money they're throwing away. And it pushes people into a hardened heart to where they don't want to help people because
See,
they think of the
it,
fraud.
it does two things. It does what you're describing, but it also polarizes the folks on the left to
Yeah.
double and triple down. How dare you, Richard? How dare you be so hard-hearted? How dare you not care about the plight of these people?
Hey,
It's
the
because it's
moment they
because that's
open
not
their
what they
doors,
care about.
hold on. The moment they open their doors to people that are homeless on the street or people who just need a hand up and not a hand out, like I have done and my family has done over the years, then they can talk to me like that because
But
I've
that's the
done
whole
this
point.
and my this
Everybody's
on a
everybody's going to express that
local
opinion.
level.
Yeah,
We have
everybody's going to
helped
express
people.
that opinion because they have freedom of speech. What folks, for anybody who's listening into the stream, needs to recognize is this is just their perspective. All they see, if they're seeing that, is that. One of the things that I like about us coming and talk about here is that we are looking at as much of all of what's going on as being as much of what's all that's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Steve Balderson.
Yeah. In other words, you know, we want to look at things holistically, but we also want to look at things pragmatically. And for Siggy, that does not mean pushing the damn button.
No,
Okay, settle down. Okay, settle down.
no.
All right.
One of the things about this that I keep, I have seen some of the most amazing things in my life. And I've also seen some pretty horrific things in my life. But one of the best things I've seen is when everyday people see someone in need and help them out.
And that right there, that's the American way.
And
Okay,
it
that's
upsets
the
me.
American way. But that's not what they're told in the media, Richard. It's not
Yeah,
what they're told in the media. It's not what they're told in the movies. Okay, they're told they're told that, one battle after another. They're told that that's what America is because it got a Golden Globe Award. That's called propaganda. That's not America. Okay, people who think that that's America today are I'm not going to say they're out of their minds. They're just misinformed. I don't feel sad for them. I don't feel bad for them. I just recognize that they're just plain misinformed if that's really what they think America is. One battle after another.
Yep.
They're misinformed. I can't blame them for the fact that Hollywood is feeding them tripe. I can't blame them for the fact that our major news networks completely 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 feed into that specific narrative. I can't blame them for it. That's what
No.
they're told. That's what they're
Yep.
given. Okay.
Well,
And they've been given it enough to the point where anything counter to that must be that F word, must be that R word that we're not going to repeat on this stream.
yeah.
Okay.
See, like I said, there's just so much of this that's freaking me out because it's so deep and it's not contained to just the daycares. It's a whole bunch of other things, and it's been going on for so long that the national media is not wanting to cover all of it. They're just trying to make this out to be just another TDS thing.
It's more than that, because I'll tell you right now, if it were a different person with the same perspective, with the same orientation, they'd still do it.
Yeah,
Pull out that person and substitute them with another person saying similar things the similar way, and they would just do the same thing.
well, that's what happened with John McCain and Bob Dole, Mitt Romney.
We can wax philosophical on all those guys. We can wax philosophical on those guys. They did it with Ross Perot back in the 90s, man. And the guy was like pretty much down the middle. He was talking about we got to get this country on a good financial footing. Here's how. And still the media dumped on the guy.
He brought Ross Perot brought businessman stuff in, saying we need to get efficiency into government. We got to get rid of the what's it called where you duplicate stuff, where you've got like three people doing the exact same job in three different locations when you actually consolidate like administrative stuff into one location. And he was talking about that and trying to clean it all up. Oh yeah, Siggy, you're right. That's what I grew up listening to as a little kid about how Reagan's going to start World War III. No, that was Genesis that did the song.
Both of them. Yeah, no. Sting wrote the song Russians.
Oh, yep, okay.
But Phil Collins wrote These Are the Hands We're Given. Both of them. And there were other songs. And there were other songs from back in the 80s that talked about that. Okay.
Yep.
The thing is
It goes
this.
back to the old saying that pop culture is downstream from politics, or politics is downstream from popular culture. They
Yeah.
interact with each other.
Yeah. And what's been happening the past few years is folks like here on this platform and some others have been trying to switch the flip.
Yep.
Okay. Switch the flip. And honestly, that's what needs to happen more. Okay. I was and partially because what's happened with politics and some of the shenanigans that have happened over the past decade and a half is now we've got a whole generation of Gen Zers, okay, that are walking around with debt that they're likely not going to be able to repay. Okay, they're calling it this thing called disillusionomics.
Yes.
Disillusionomics. Okay, where they're enjoying trips, they're enjoying travel, they're enjoying indulgences about different things, putting it on credit. Okay, I for some reason the number, get this, the number that I heard that the average Gen Zer has of debt is upwards of $90,000. Okay, this is someone in the range of 24 to 30 years of age. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is without owning a home. Okay. This is without owning a home. This is just credit card or loan debt. Okay. No,
Yeah.
it's not college debt
Right.
either. It's not college debt either, Siggy. This from
This is
I'll
on
have to
top
find
of
the article
college
and I'll
debt.
share it with you guys in the Discord. But this article did not include college debt at all.
This what he's talking about is on top of college debt.
Well, I'm talking about credit card and personal loans, not including educational loans. This did not include homes or vehicles. Okay? Stop and think about that. Stop and think about that, what that might mean. Okay? Stop and think about what that might mean. In other words, nothing that tied back to some hard physical asset. Okay? Or even invalid. Yeah, it makes no sense. And yet, this is what's going on with Gen Z. Okay?
This makes me wonder if this is why I have such a hard time trying to get a fracking credit card right now. Even though I've
might
got
have
a
something
really
to do
good
with it.
credit rating.
Well, look at the credit cards after the great unpleasantness came about. What happened to our baseline interest rate? It started to go up, and what did credit card companies do? They practically tripled. Before the great unpleasantness, you could get a 12% credit card with, say, 12 months, zero interest. Okay.
Yeah.
You might get a credit card today with zero interest for 12 months, but you're going to end up with a 29.99% interest rate on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sigvaldison, absolutely, they've had enough time to do that. Absolutely, they've had enough time to do that. Okay. If somebody gave me $90,000 of debt, absolutely, you could do that. Take 2 trips around the freaking world, my friend. Okay. Go stay at posh hotels. I'm telling you, Richard, go stay at posh hotels. Fly first class on Emirates. Okay. Buy yourself those Hermes purses.
Bags. Yeah.
Okay. Buy yourself that sort of stuff. You can absolutely rack up $90,000 debt in a very short time. Huh?
I've actually heard where this guy was putting this highfalutin life on credit cards.
Absolutely.
They were leasing a sports car.
Yeah,
they were trying to live the life of an influencer and doing the Instagram influencer
absolutely
thing.
Look,
and they racked up because they were on that accounting show that's here on YouTube.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. I forget his name.
And he went nuts. He's like, how? And he could not believe that they were,
But they're doing it.
and that was
But
how they were racking up that much money.
but they're doing it. But they're doing it. Okay. So looking looking look, it's not isolated cases, Siggy.
It's a
There
lot more,
is an incredible amount of Gen Zers
and
pursuing this sort of
it's
stuff.
scary, man.
Okay.
Because these kids are pretty much throwing their life away because they don't think.
Well, but here's the thing.
They think it's all going to fall down soon.
But here's the thing, Richard. They're not worrying about it.
Yeah.
They don't care about a credit score. They don't care. They don't care about a credit score. Okay.
See,
and here's the thing. Here's the thing. In some crazy way, I can't blame them. They grew up seeing what their parents went through with the housing situation in 2008, 2009. Okay. They saw, they've been fed what they've been fed by higher education. Okay. I'm going to leave that right there for now. Let's talk for another thing for another day. Okay. They've seen what their either older siblings or cousins went through with a war.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's leave that there too. Have another conversation another time. Okay. They've seen what the diminishing return of a college education has been. Now they've seen the impact of a workforce that the upper management got sold the idea that they didn't need as many people to do as many things and still get as much productivity by applying AI. So now they've been hit by all these hundreds of thousands of layoffs, which are not coming back.
Yeah.
They've seen skilled jobs being offshored. Okay. They've seen other remaining high skilled jobs being given to visa holders that were where that's a whole other conversation, where our visa for specialized work has been it's been expanded to the point where specialized skills means nothing. Okay. So they've lived through all this sort of stuff. Okay. And I'm not giving them a pass, but it stands to reason that some amount of people are going to cave under these sorts of pressures. Yep. This is what I like to call the unnoticed Great Depression.
Yeah.
This is what I like to call the unnoticed Great Depression. That's what we're in right now.
I worked my butt off to get my my credit rating as high as possible. I went
same here.
I can't even get one of those the Amazon credit card
because they're being so tight with it. And the reason for that is because you're having so much credit default going on. Okay. All these buy now, pay later sort of folks are floating. Klarna, I forget what the other one. Those Acclaim. Those folks are floating on investor cash, just like the AI folks are. At some point, that buy now, pay later, they're gonna have to get paid. And if Gen Z is living la vida large with all that buy now, pay later money,
yep,
it's gonna bring that stuff come crashing down, and it has adverse impacts to applying for credit. Okay.
Well, the funny thing is, my nephew was talking about the fact that it's easy for him to get one, but he doesn't want one because he's smart.
Well, that's the thing.
The credit card I wanted to get, the reason why I wanted to get a credit card was for emergencies. Right. That's why I worked so hard to get my credit rating to a point to where I could do it. And it's
well, you see, here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff that goes into them qualifying, if he's got a job or just getting into the workforce, one of the interesting things about applying for credit is they figure you're a relatively low risk that first time out of the gate. Okay. Maybe even that second time out of the gate. But once you've got an established credit history, okay, different factors go into play.
And
Okay.
that's the part that gets me is I
Oh,
established a really good credit
dude,
rating.
once you're in the matrix, you belong to the matrix. Okay. Our credit, if there, that was the funny part. If there is an expose to be made in this country from a financial perspective, I wait for the day that some deep, deep, deep whistleblowers come out of TransUnion, Experian, and what's the other one? I forget what it's called. TransUnion, Experian, and I forget now. I forget the name of the other credit reporting folks. And by mentioning them, I've probably screwed up my credit score. But the fact is that those algorithms that they use to calculate your credit score, okay, they're never consistent. People have tried to reverse engineer them from the outside. Okay. I'd have to go look for it, but I think some computer science folks, some data science folks have tried to reverse engineer the credits. What is it, that FICO 8 or FICO 10 score, Richard? They tried to some PhDs, bro. They tried to reverse engineer the algorithm and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Okay. And that being the case, I mean, again, I'm no data analyst, but that itself sounds sketchy.
Yeah.
You could get some hardcore math people to try to reverse engineer how the FICO 8 score that dictates whether you get a credit card, okay, and they couldn't reverse engineer it.
Because, like I said, I mean, I bought a those little storage buildings. You can get them, buy them, set them up, and
pay
them off over a certain amount of time.
Yeah, one of those pods.
Yeah, so I did that to be able to rebuild my credit score after the accident because I had to declare they had to write off the medical, all my medical bills because hey, I'm on disability now. I'm not able to work. So they had to write all that off. And they were telling me that my credit score was going to take a hit for it. I'm like, okay. Then they said, you're going to need to build up your credit score. And then they told me this is what I had to do to build up my credit score back up. So I spent almost 15 years rebuilding my credit score. And it's been, once I got it all built back up, I started applying for credit cards again. And every time I've applied for a credit card, nope. The credit union that I am part of, I was talking with them about it. And hey, Suzanne, the only way I can get a credit card through them is as a secured credit card. And that would mean me having to deposit several $1,000s into that account and never touching it.
Yeah, they'll always start off with that. If you've had a significant hit into your credit, they'll always start with secured credit. That's just the way it is.
And I had one of those credit cards all during the time I was rebuilding my credit rating, which is what frustrates me. Is I went that route, and that seems like it doesn't help at all.
It like I said, it's not just having a secured credit card. If you've used it, it will help. Okay. But at some point, you know, and that's the thing. Okay. The credit algorithms that they have are not considering disability income as income.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just put that right there. And the fact that they don't do that elevates the risk factor that they use when they calculate, do we give this guy credit or not? All right. And so anybody stuck on disability these days is in effect in a timeout box. Okay. You're in a timeout box because your income is tied to the fortunes of the government.
Yep.
In effect. And that carries extra risk that they're not prepared, or usually are not prepared to take on. Okay. The thing that gets me is that, you know, that there is no knowing that unless you've already lived it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? There's no knowing that unless you've already lived it. Okay. In which case, then you turn around and say to yourself, well, look, a well-substantiated fact is that somebody in this particular situation, okay, should receive extra due consideration than someone who is not in that situation.
Yeah.
Okay. But, you know, the financial systems being what they are, they're not gonna, they're not gonna, they're not going to add an exception factor into that sort of stuff, man.
It falls back to that whole, what I was talking about at the VA, the whole one size fits all BS they do.
True.
I mean,
but
one of the nurses I was talking to about my drug allergies, and because she's also got drug allergies, she also can't take morphine, and we were talking about the fact when you can't take the most common pain medicines, it's hard to get any type of pain relief.
Yeah,
and but yeah. We'll go ahead.
The funny part is that it doesn't make it's not put in a situation where it's financially viable for pharmaceutical companies to pursue alternative pain therapy for people who have intolerance to that. It's not like you can say, "Oh, you know what? We're going to give you the A2 of pain medication because you're opioid intolerant." You know, like you can get A2 milk if you're lactose, sensitive or lactose intolerant. You know, they'll say, "Okay, have some A2 milk." No, nobody's considering and nobody's invested in, huh? What was that?
I don't know if it's you're cutting up or if I'm the one cutting up.
I don't know. I mean, are you able to hear?
It sounded like you were doing for me, it sounded like you were sound waving.
Oh, okay. Well, no. I'll repeat it. I'll repeat it. It's the drug manufacturers have very little incentive to treat folks who are pain medication intolerant, given what's going on there. Like you have companies that produce A2 milk for people who are lactose intolerant, Richard.
Yeah.
You ever seen those commercials? Yeah. There's folks that have, bred and produce, milk for lactose intolerant people. There's no incentive for pharmaceutical companies to pursue alternative pain therapies for people who are intolerant of the current sets of opioid-based medications.
And Suzanne's got it right here. I'm intolerant of a doctor that refuses to prescribe opioids because that's where I'm at.
We
is the fact that
we
they
empathize, Suzanne. We empathize. We really do. Okay.
because I've
But
got that there is pain medicine that I can take, but because of the fentanyl epidemic, they won't prescribe them because they're like, oh, it's an opioid, so we can't prescribe it to you.
it's too challenging. It's too. There's some part of it is not the availability. Part of it is the controls around it and the ability for it to be misused.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what's
And I'll
really
go you a different direction. Go a different direction. Okay. Enough high profile cases of doctors abusing of the prescriptability of medicines like opioids,
yeah,
okay, or things like fentanyl, okay, and the government's gonna clamp down. What did you think they were going to do? Okay, let's see here. Michael Jackson, okay, and a few others.
mhm,
Matthew Broderick, okay. I mean, what did you think was going to happen, folks? I mean, of course, those are higher profile cases, but enough of those, and it's going to filter down to the rest of us, Richard.
oh yeah,
It's going
and
to filter down to the rest of us. Okay. And frankly, the again, the pharmaceutical industry has little incentive to find their A2 milk alternative to opioids. Okay. If there was an incentive or focus on finding the A2 form of pain meds, then possibly they could pursue that. But right
yeah.
now there's little incentive for the pharmaceutical companies to do that. You know, there's
Well,
little
Suzanne said
incentive.
she actually had a doctor offer her fentanyl. Oh man,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's too easy for them to punt. Okay.
because the
Because
fentanyl, the doctor, I had surgery and they used fentanyl for the
Yeah,
surgery.
but you're talking about you're talking about in a very controlled clinical situation, man.
Oh yeah.
Surgery.
Now
This is
they gave me
yeah,
the hold on. Let me finish. They gave me the fentanyl for the surgery when they had to. I had the three hernias that they had to fix, and unfortunately, after they fixed my hernias, they put me back into a car and had me drive 2 hours home. And by the time we got home, that fentanyl had already worn off, and I was barely able to get out of the car and back into my house to get into bed. My Nadine had to go and get my nephews to help me to get out of the car and get
so they gave
up
you
the ramp.
they did that surgery outpatient.
Yes,
I would have
fixing
gotten
three
me
hernias.
personally, I would have gotten a mouthpiece.
Well, what can
I'm
I
just
say? It
putting
was
it
the
out
VA
there.
that did it. I
Doesn't
don't have.
matter.
I
Doesn't matter. I would have gotten a mouthpiece. Me being you, if I was your brother at that point, I would have gone and talked to a mouthpiece. You
yeah.
you you
Well,
you
I don't have it.
that even in an outpatient situation, okay, you fentanyl, 3 hernias. There had to have been other ways to have you deal with your return home.
Yep.
Okay. I can't I'm finding it challenging for me to think that they couldn't have helped you with assistive transportation.
Yeah.
At minimum. At a minimum. At a
It was.
minimum.
Oh man, it was so messed
Okay.
up.
At a minimum.
But like I said, I don't have a belly button anymore because of the surgeries where they fixed the hernias.
Well,
I just
all
have
I'm
a really
saying is,
nasty looking scar there.
yeah, all I'm saying is that, all I'm saying is that if I were you, I would have,
Well, I'm in the
I would
process
have.
right now trying to find a lawyer to help me with my Social Security disability
Mm-hmm.
because since 2022,
Mm-hmm.
I have they are reviewing my Social Security disability twice now because they're only supposed to do it once every 10 years. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, we might as well go ahead and wrap it up because we're about to hit the hour mark. We will do a much better, deeper dive on this when I can get some more information. Because, like I said, this is a whole lot bigger than just the daycare stuff.
Yeah,
it's free. It upsets me because I've been in a situation where I needed the government's help and couldn't get it.
well,
and I know
these are reasons why.
Yes.
These are reasons why.
And that's why I want to do a deep dive like I did with the Maduro yoinking, because it was there was so much that went into that.
Yeah.
And the background that led up to it that so many people just did not know.
Yeah.
And why it was a good thing to do it.
Yeah. I just think that pursuing this, looking at this, okay, part of part of looking at this should be is objectively what what could we do better?
Yep.
Okay.
And
what can we do better?
But our next deep dive will be the what's going on in Iran. But that'll be for another week, because next week is, and that's my birthday. My birthday is exactly one day.
Yeah, you kind of broke up there, buddy. You kind of broke up there.
Okay. All right. Next week, instead of a deep dive Tuesday, we're doing my birthday.
All right.
We're going to do a birthday live stream. Because Wavo said, "What's your birthday again?" And I told him that, yes, we're going to do a birthday live stream, and he's lining up people to come on and stop in for a little bit. So anybody that wants to do that, just drop us a line, and we'll set it up. But we will be doing a deep dive about what's going on in Iran, because there is just so much going on with it. And the fact that this is something that the Iranian people have been wanting since the Iranian Revolution in 1980. And it's a long time coming. And the fact that it's finally here, I'm happy, because I've got several friends of mine that are from Iran, and the things that they have told me about what life is like living in Iran is it's wild. It's not as wild as my friends from Venezuela have told me about what it was like living there when Chavez and Maduro basically ran the country into the ground. But yeah, the deep dive on Iran is probably going to be a big, good one. Siggy says, "We will see if they can pull it off. The government has the guns and they don't mind using them." Very true. Very
we'll
true.
See if those folks. We'll see if those folks can survive this, man.
Well, from what the people I'm talking with is seeing, that is very much a possibility that the regular military is going to be helping, because they've been watching the Iranian Islamic Guards kill civilians, and the civilians have been burning down the headquarters of the Islamic Guards. So it is a possibility. But like I said, that's going to be our next deep dive, will be what's been going on in Iran, and how the Iranian people, especially the young women, are burning their hijabs and demanding equal rights. And
they're telling the government where they can get off.
Yes. So this is something that is, oh God, yeah. The
There
fastest
you
growing
go.
religion right now in Iran is Christianity. Is
Yeah.
Eastern
Let him
Orthodox.
go. Let him go, man. Let him go at it.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna go. We're gonna go ahead and end it for now. Uh, let us all go out there and be a positive change in this world,
Yep.
because
And,
that's the only way we're going to make the world a better place, man.
yeah. And by the
Um,
way, next time, grab a Gen Zer, bring them in. We wanna we want to talk, man. We
oh
want to
yeah,
talk. We think there are things that we think that there's stuff that you know Richard and I and Crazy, when he's back up on his back up
internet connections.
on his internet connection, that we can share with you all, that can be a benefit to you. So, if you know any Gen Zers, bring them in. Can't just
Oh
be us
yeah,
old guy. It can't just be us old guys. I think part of what we want to do is, when we look at these things and analyze them a little bit, okay, we might rant from time to time. Okay, we'll keep that spray bottle handy.
yep.
But I think but I think we want to talk frankly, and and
Hold on a second.
not be the downer.
All right, hold on. He did it, so I've got to
Siggy,
do this.
I told you, bad Sigvaldason.
Bad Sigvaldason. Bad Siggy. Bad. Bad
You
Siggy.
know, it wouldn't be a fireside chat if we didn't have to tell him to just, settle down.
Yeah, behave, man.
Settle down, dude. Settle down.
You,
We'll
we
figure it
know,
out. Sort
you
it
know we
out,
love
man.
you, brother.
Chill out.
Hey,
Okay.
Siggy, you know we love you. But
So, anyways, Richard, thanks for hosting these things.
oh yeah, anytime anybody wants to do a talk, drop me a line and I will set this up, get a fire set so we can set and we can talk about stuff. Though I do
Sure.
want us to start talking about the things we love, okay? I want to do a Saturday morning cartoon show where we talk about the Saturday morning cartoons when we were kids. I want to talk about our favorite toys. No, we can't talk about the pretty little red button. We can talk about toys and cartoons, because that's going to be fun. But like I said, guys, let's go out there and be the positive change we want to see in the world. Share the stuff you love, because in all honesty, this world needs a lot more love in it. And never ever forget, you are not alone.
That's right.
And you are loved, especially by me. Y'all be good, and I'll see you guys soon. And tomorrow's show, regular fireside chat, we've got some really good stuff coming. Laura Jane's going to be making another appearance, because we've got more animal news that is really exciting that she cannot wait to talk about, coming out of Florida.
Very nice.
Yes, she is so excited about the law that DeSantis just signed there, making it to where if you've ever been convicted of any type of animal abuse, you can never, ever buy a pet again. And she can't wait to talk about it, guys. All right. I see you guys soon. I love you all.
Endorse that.
Yep, me too.
Folks, we're going to bring this one to a close. Thanks for coming. Remember, bring a friend next time.
Yep. We love you guys. And thank you for being part of this family.
Thank you.
Y'all be good. And know I love you all.